How's it going on, everyone? I'm Jordan, and these are my top 5 favorite Game Chaser episodes.
Top 5 Friday. Top 5 Friday tonight.
5.
Starting off this list is going to be episode 43, Snatch and Grab. And why is it this episode specifically? It's because it was from a few years ago, and this was the big road trip that I was on with Billy and Jay as we were driving from Texas all the way up to our final destination in Canada for Con Bravo. And along the way, while we were in Tennessee, our rental was broken into and a bunch of our stuff was stolen. Specifically for me, a whole bag that had my laptop, my 3DS, some movies, games, a bunch of stuff that I've been picking up throughout the trip, and a lot of stuff that I brought with me, but most importantly, my passport so I could get into Canada. And of course, at the time, this was a huge, terrible thing that happened, and it was very hard to take in because it was a lot of stuff and it was going to be very expensive to replace a lot of that, especially the passport. And the way we got around that is I had my mom send out my birth certificate to New York where Scott Grimsey was, and we met with him in New York. I picked up my birth certificate and I was able to use that and my ID to get across the border. I have yet since to get a new passport, and I did the same tactic the next year when we went back to Canada because I'm too lazy to buy another passport. And like I said, at the time, this was a huge, devastating moment, and it was really hard to cope with for a while, even throughout the rest of the trip, because there was a lot of stuff in there that I saved up my own money to buy, like this 3DS that is something that goes up in value, was a variant of a 3DS, and then I had my laptop, which was my first ever laptop, and you know, it was stuff that I purchased with my own money, and it was the first time I had a lot of the stuff to myself, and it was just like that, it was gone. And I think at that time, while I was super emotional and super butthurt about the situation, I was telling everyone, I said, years from now, I'm going to look back and I'm going to laugh at this episode, and I'm going to laugh at the situation and just have a big joke about it. And that's really where I've been at for the past few years, at least with it, is everything that was there was replaced minus a couple things, and like I said, the passport, because I'm still too lazy to do that. But it's something that will make that road trip super memorable, and even though it's for bad reasons, it was still an experience, and I don't regret going on the road trip and hanging out with the guys.
4.
Our next one is episode 21, Sin City Shenanigans, Part 1. Now, this is an infamous episode, at least for me and to a lot of other people that know my history with Billy and Jay, and that is my first appearance, my first official appearance on the show when I was 17 years old. Now, honestly, I actually really dislike this episode because of personal things about me. I really find myself super cringy in this video, really kind of just, I don't know, I just don't like me in it, and I look like a fuck, and I don't and I don't like that, but it's something to me that's special because that was the first moment I was in the show, and that was really cool. And I've known Billy and Jay before that. At least I talked to Billy a lot before the Game Chasers show started, and this was my first big opportunity to travel on my own. And you know, I went to Vegas and I got to hang out with Billy and Jay at this one convention out there and go see the strip with them and do a lot of fun stuff. And it was just a cool moment for me before I was like a full adult, and just going and hanging out with them and having a good time. And it's something that I'll always remember fondly and hold dear to myself. Is like, this was something that was so cool that I never thought I'd be able to do because of the internet. And I'm really thankful I have that opportunity to hang out with them as much as I do now and travel with them. But this is, it's just one of those special moments. As much as you look back and you cringe and people can make fun of it, it's still something that I won't forget, because to me it was special, regardless of how cringy.
3.
The next one is episode 63, Desperate Measures, and I promise this is the last one with me involved in it. It's just that the ones with me in it, I was there, so it kind of means a little bit more to me, and I enjoy it a certain way more, but I promise this is the last one with me in that episode. But this was filmed earlier this year as of filming this, and what was fun about this episode is it was something that we've never done before. It was something that Billy and Jay never had done, and we had everyone with us. It was Bill, Alpha Omega Sid, we had Wood from Beat 'em Ups, and we were just all together, and we were like, how are we gonna hunt for games? What should we do? And of course, this harebrained idea between Billy and Jay to just go find a neighborhood and door to door ask, hey, do you have video games? We're looking to buy them. And it was a fun time filming this because it almost felt like a covert operation where a team was in the car and a team was out there going out and asking at the doors. Oh, and also I forgot, Eric was there as well. And so it was literally 3-on-3 where Eric, Jay, and Wood would knock on the door, and Alpha, myself, and Billy were in the car filming and having our own banter back and forth while they were out there asking for the games. And what's crazy is this actually kind of worked. We actually were able to find someone who took us to their storage shed, and they had not a lot, but we were able to dig through the storage shed, and they allowed us to do that, and we found a few games, mostly newer stuff, but we were able to still find some cool things. And then another house had like a bunch of PS2 games that I think Wood ended up buying. It was just, it was about the experience rather than the end goal of finding gold. And while you may have luck finding an incredible item by doing this, it was more about just being a bunch of goofballs and like, can this work? And it kind of did. And it was just a fun experience and a fun journey. And I just really liked that episode because it felt so different. It was just like, hey, welcome to the Game Chasers. We're gonna knock on some doors and hopefully someone has some games. And surprisingly, it worked. Kind of.
2.
The next one is episode 53, Relics from the Past, and this kind of ties into the next one, which was, I think, Redneck Restoration. This is where Billy and Jay go to the mall, and they go to an abandoned part of the mall where it's kind of like zoned off, and while they do find some awesome stuff back there, the most impactful thing that they find, besides, you know, their old KB toys where Billy talked about, like, that's the KB toys that he went to when he was a kid and when he was a teenager and buy games and toys. But most importantly, they found these shelves, these Nintendo 64 KB toys shelves that were all painted black, and then in the next episode they were able to restore it back to the original way they looked and take off all the black paint. And it was such a cool thing because I can put myself in those shoes of finding something so nostalgic because that was something that was personal to you, and then going there and finding something from these exact, like, these shelves, like, you bought games from that shelf and now you have that shelf in your house storing your own games and collectibles on. I think that's something that's super awesome, and to everyone that's just like, it's just a stupid shelf. Wow, great find. But to me, that's, even though it's not nostalgic to me, I can feel why they were happy and why they were so excited about finding this and why it was actually an amazing find. This is something that no one else can have this experience and this memory of. Sure, anyone can go find these shelves, but the memories of the shelves and what they would mean to you rather than just to the random schmuck that would find it, it's a whole different thing. And I was really happy for them, and those shelves are awesome. And which, I don't know, it's just a really nice episode, okay? Okay, it was really good. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
1.
And my all-time favorite Game Chasers episode is episode 61, Under the Bridge, MIDTOWN. This is an episode that not only is one, an entertaining episode, but it's such an emotional episode. It takes Dodongo and it talks a lot about his past and a lot of the shit that he's had to deal with in his life. And by the end of it, you get to go to a place where he had to live under this bridge, and you just have this really heartfelt, true moment between the whole group there and Dodongo, and it's so touching, it's so honest, and it's so raw. It's something that, it's not just appealing to the Game Chaser side of things. This appealed to anyone who has ever felt low in their life, who has struggled, who needed help. And and I've talked to Dodongo about that episode, and it's such a moving and heartfelt thing that every time I watch that episode I tear up towards the end of it when it gets super serious and they're talking about everything, and it's beautifully shot. The cinematography towards the end, it's super emotional. It's nicely put together, and it doesn't even feel like you're watching the Game Chasers. And while you have these guys there, it just shows, you know, that these aren't just people on screen doing dumb stuff to entertain you. There's actual real people behind it that have issues or that have dealt with stuff, and they're people like you and I, and it's not just a facade or fake. It was something that was just real, and it was in the moment, and it was captured on camera, and it was beautifully presented. And sometimes it just takes something like this to just bring you back to reality. Just bring you back down and sit you down and just say, hey, life is a journey. There's going to be a lot of ups, there's going to be a lot of downs, but you always keep going, and you always try to better yourself. Even when you're at your lowest, you always have support from family, friends, and it's just a super touching episode, and I don't think there's an episode better, in my opinion, in terms of just how raw that was in the moment. But that's it. That's my list. Those are my top 5 Game Chaser episodes. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. My name is Jordan. You can find me on the channel PokeFlip, and I will one day see you on this channel again if I'm allowed back. Probably not.